What is going on, my loveliest FreeMelons? Thank you so much for joining me here on the FreeMelon Society once again. My name is Martyr, and I have got a very, very important and great interview for you today. I am interviewing a man named Chris Sky. Chris Sky, like myself, is an independent researcher, has been for many, many years. He is also a businessman, and now with the COVID-19 propagandemic, all the nonsense that's going on all over the world, by necessity, Chris has become a freedom activist and is working with a couple of different organizations to open up the city again here in Toronto. And I thought it was really important for me to interview him so that he could give his side of the story. He's been attacked by the mainstream media because of the things that he's working on right now, and it's just a great story. It's a great interview. So hope you guys enjoy it, and we'll see you in just a bit. Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm joined with my good friend and actually cousin. This is Mr. Chris Sky and his lovely wife Jenny Sky. Guys, thanks so much for coming out and spending some time with me here today. And we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. There's the lockdown situation right now. There's the coronavirus fear campaign, and we got government propaganda being shoved down our throats. It's a mess right now, obviously. And so, just to give you guys a quick intro, Chris, my cousin, we've known each other for a long time. Grew up together, went to school together, and it's funny because in the last, while I was in school, the last 10, 12, 13 years, you were the only other person that I knew that kept up with the amount of research that I was doing on my own time. And we'd be sharing Facebook posts about government corruption, all this, and I didn't know anybody who was on the same page. It was you, and that's it. That's all I knew who was into the truth movement. Chris is now turned into a freedom activist by necessity. I know by necessity, cultivating that responsibility. But yeah, Chris, if you want to just give some quick background information, anything you'd like to share about where you're coming from, and then we'll get started.
We started following the coronavirus just like everybody else. We used to travel a lot, so we were traveling since January. We've been in Italy. We've been in all these places that were supposed to be full of coronavirus, and we got out of those countries just before they actually got locked down. So we had different experiences in different countries. So we were more like in tune with the COVID than most people were, because we experienced it from a bunch of different countries well before a lot of people even knew what was going on. But Let's start it from when they told us we're going to be locked down. Why were we locked down in the first place? We were locked down because we were told they had models. What are models? Models are predictions made by people based on stuff they made up.
Yeah.
Literally, that's what a model is. A model is basically a made-up prediction, which you can say whatever you want.
Right.
So they gave us these models that said 500,000 people could die. The lowest model said we're going to have 50,000 people dying. So we got to lock everybody down for 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Okay. People like you and me, as soon as we saw the government telling us that we need to give up our rights for a temporary time, knew better and said, this isn't going to be something that lasts 2 weeks.
No.
This is going to be something that goes on a lot longer. And it's probably got a lot more to do than just a little virus. Absolutely. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So, but even the most logical person, even the most government, even someone like us that looks at government corruption all the time, it was really hard for us to say, okay, we shouldn't be locked down for 2 weeks. It made sense. Everything they said made sense. There was too many unknowns. People were dying in other countries. Yeah. So we went along with it. Sure enough, what happened? As soon as we gave up our freedoms, they took them from us. 2 weeks has now been like 3 months. So what have we seen? The number one target of this entire thing is small businesses. That's what we noticed right away. How do we notice this? Right away, they started declaring certain businesses essential. Things like Amazon and Walmart, essential.
Yeah.
Things like McDonald's drive-through, essential.
LCBO.
Going to the gym. Also, that's my favorite
LCBO.
one.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, that's it's a beer store. It's a liquor store, a big liquor store.
Yes, LCBO is our government-run liquor store
Yeah.
for people that aren't in Canada. So if you want to get booze in Canada, you have to go to the government store. So the government makes all the money on booze. But I'm sure that had nothing to do with making it an essential business. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Their excuse was the alcoholics. The alcoholics
Yeah.
with withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah. Well, when alcohol is, I get it, but like alcohol is available at virtually any major grocery store, so it's like, if you need the fix, you're not being deprived of alcohol. I don't know. Yeah.
Exactly. We do sell it at other places besides the LCBO.
Yeah.
But the whole idea of essential versus non-essential is straight out of the communist playbook anyway. You can't have a government choosing who is allowed to work and who is not allowed to work, especially after people have already invested their entire livelihoods into their work.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. The entire idea is ridiculous, but people went along with it because they were told 2 weeks.
Right.
If you had a business that couldn't survive 2 weeks, you really shouldn't have a business. But no business is made to survive for months on end without having any form of income and with having to pay rent, etc.
That's right.
So we realized that with all the stuff going on with the social distancing, with the kids being scared, and all the other stuff going on, the most important thing was the small businesses. Canada runs on small business. Our economy is propped up by small business.
Right.
When at the start of this crisis in 2020, at January 1st, 2020, there was around 1.15 million small businesses in Canada. That comprises 97% of all the businesses in Canada.
Wow.
97%.
Yeah.
It accounts for 70% of all our jobs and a huge portion of our GDP. And it basically represents the entirety of the middle class.
Right.
The whole small business sector is the middle class of the economy. And without that, the economy stops and we have an economic crash and we end up in a vicious cycle of much higher taxes, much lower standard of living, and it'll just perpetuate.
Yeah.
So what have we got so far? We're at the point now that estimations have shown that we've already lost around 200 to 250,000 small businesses.
The numbers are insane.
Good.
Yeah.
That's right. It's like almost 20% of all our small businesses all across Canada are gone. Yeah. They're not coming back. They're not being replaced with anything. And all those people they employed are now unemployed.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy because I know you know this, and I've been on this for a long time, but this is not something that's just happening now. This has been long range game plan. You can go back to the early 1900s if you want. You can go to the Frankfurt School, the whole cultural Marxist movement, and critical theory. All these cultural Marxists, just propagandizing everybody with their books. Talking about how the family is bad, the civil rights movement is just a controlled opposition. It's a war on the middle class, essentially, is exactly what you're saying, Ray, is what you notice.
That's the ultimate goal. That's what people need to understand. The goal here isn't about a virus.
Yeah.
The goal is about breaking down the middle class to the point where there is no more middle class.
Mm-hmm.
The more people you take out of the middle class and put on these CRB payments that they're doing, unemployment basically, the more you create a class of government dependents.
That's exactly
not independent free thinkers that can stand on their own 2 feet and make their own decisions. No, these are people that literally rely on the government for their very survival. That's what the government wants. Yeah. Government wants to eliminate the middle class and replace it with a new class of government dependents. Why? Because then the government has control.
Exactly.
If you need to wait for the government to send you a paycheck before you can eat, and they tell you you're going to download the COVID tracking app or you're going to get the COVID vaccine, you're going to get those things or you're not going to be able to eat. If you're a small business owner and you employ multiple people, you can say whatever you want to say because you're providing for yourself. And that's what they don't want. Right. So that's why small people have to understand that this is a targeted economic destruction of small business. And if they doubt that, they can look just as far as our deputy PM, Chrystia Freeland. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows who she is. She's an author. So we have an author as the second in command of our country, and we have a substitute drama teacher as the number one in command of our country. And they're telling us that they have to rely on their medical professionals to decide on our economic conditions for ourselves.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we have let's say that again, an author, a drama teacher, and so-called medical professionals. Where do they have anybody that's had any economic experience making any of these decisions that are telling us what we have to do with our lives? They don't. Yeah, that's their excuse. That's their plausible deniability. In fact, they won't even tell you the name of their so-called experts that are giving them the so-called data to justify the lockdown. In fact, they won't even give you the data they are using to justify the lockdown.
Yeah.
And when we asked them, and when we pressed them, we started a political organization last week called Fearless Ontario, because we organized protests in Toronto through a couple of different organizations, and they were trying to brush us off as just fringe and even worse, like far-right white supremacists.
Oh, give me a break. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what they were trying to do. So to get some legitimacy to our cause, we had a politician, Randy Hillier, who's been voting against the lockdown, and he contacted us and said, if you guys had an organization and you came and speak while they're in legislature, I'll come out, I'll do a speech, I'll support you guys, and you guys will get known. Sounded like a good idea, so that's what we did. And it worked out perfectly. We went to the legislature. I did an interview with CTV Global. They didn't know who we were. Our organization is called Fearless Ontario, www.fearlessontario.ca, and also on Facebook.
I'll post some links, guys. So I'll post some links in the description. If you live in the Toronto area, if you can, you can get involved. So I'll post all that down below so that you guys can check it out.
But in any case, so Randy came out, did his speech. He told everybody how he was supporting us and he voted against the lockdown. Then he went a step further and he tabled an amendment for the government. And this amendment was called a Transparency Justification Amendment.
Right.
And it was designed to force the government to have to show us all the data and their reasoning for justifying the extending of the state of emergency, which they're supposed to do by law anyway.
Yeah.
So basically, this amendment was highlight the fact that they weren't doing that.
Right.
They were supposed to vote on the amendment on the Wednesday morning. He tabled the idea on Tuesday. What did our politicians do instead? They held a secret vote on the amendment on Tuesday, right before the legislature ended, and they made it a secret ballot. So everybody just wrote yay or nay on a little piece of paper, threw it in a thing, they counted it, and they voted down the amendment to force the government to have to tell us why they're justifying the lockdown. And they did it in a way so you wouldn't even know which of our so-called elected representatives voted against the justification amendment. So insult to injury. To make matters worse, let's go back to Miss Chrystia Freeland, where I was talking about her. She's an author, correct? Guess whose autobiography she just got paid to write? Paid handsomely, might I add.
I'm not sure I want to know. Frig, man. Okay, yeah, who? Who did she get paid to write?
Heard of him. His name is George Soros. It's synonymous with government corruption and trying to undermine our capitalist society. I don't know. The fact that our deputy PM is getting paid by George Soros to write his biography.
Oh my God! If this stuff doesn't, guys, for you listen, if this doesn't piss you off. I mean, I just finished releasing a documentary talking about George Soros. I mean, we all know who George Soros is. That's the beauty of the internet.
You better hear what her new book is called.
Oh,
it gets worse.
Okay, all right, yeah, all right.
It gets worse.
I'm ready.
She's an author, correct?
Yeah.
So while she's enforcing the policies right now that we've established are specifically targeting small business for destruction and specifically propping up big business to new heights. We know that Amazon and Walmart hit record highs.
Right.
Guess what her new book is called?
Oh, God.
This is how little respect our government officials have for their constituents. RPM wrote a book. Oh, by the way, and she also said that our opening process is going to take another 8 months, bringing us into January 2021.
Of course.
Which by then would literally destroy our economy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No return.
Oh,
Which goes perfectly with the title of her. Book. Her book is called, and I shit you not, anybody can Google this for themselves, Plutocrats. The rise of the world's super rich and the fall of everybody else. Let that one sink in for a second.
That's got to be a
people
joke.
Are angry if people don't think that this is a joke. That this is
That's got to be a joke.
The virus. I got some more data.
No.
So we got locked down because of the.
No. La 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 la.
That's what people start doing. They don't want to hear it.
I know. No, you got to hear this. Got to hear this.
You guys got to hear this because we're getting everything taken from us because we're told how dangerous this virus is now if we don't do exactly what they say, which includes staying home, staying 6 feet apart from people, not going to work, and only going out if you plan on protesting against anti-racism. Then we got issues. But here's some more data. COVID is so deadly in Canada. How many people have actually died? We know they tell you they say like 7,000 people died. 95% of those people who have died are 60 plus years old. The vast majority have underlying conditions. If we look at COVID deaths by age, the 0 to 20 age group, 0 to 20, we have 0 COVID deaths in the entire country. 0. Meanwhile, they've transformed our schools into giant prison/mental institution indoctrination centers that are planning on inflicting psychological trauma onto our children for over a decade straight that will absolutely destroy their development and make them completely unable to cope with society, unable to cope with criticism, unable to make their own decisions. You know, exactly what the government wants. A perfectly terrified, compliant drone that will do exactly as they're told without question. That's the real reason. Otherwise, they tell you it's about safety, but not one child has been killed by this virus. The virus cannot even be classified as lethal to children.
Not one death.
Ridiculous. Then we have the age group of 21 to 39. You know how many people we had? That's the prime. That's our average age of the people walking around doing things when we're going out. We've had 10 dead. 10. 20. 10. That's nothing. Move up to the next bracket.
That's nothing.
40 to 59. We have 93 that died. So from age 0 to 49 in Canada, we had 103 people die of COVID. Meanwhile, they shut down the entire economy. Tell people if you go to work, we're going to fine you, we're going to jail you, and call you every name in the book, irresponsible, this and that, if you try to leave your house. But if you're Justin Trudeau and you're marching with thousands and thousands of people, it's perfectly okay and even encouraged because
that's right.
Anti-racism is so important. Because apparently, according to our government and our media, this is their official stance, that white supremacy is a bigger threat to society.
Oh my God,
So that justifies the lack of social distancing for so-called anti-racism protests.
It's
ridiculous.
Unbelievable. And you know what's like, so guys, what you got to understand is that the people that are in the position where they're making policy, right? It's like, they're calling this a health crisis, but they don't even actually have medical professionals who are worth their salt advising them. These are bought and paid for academics and politicians who are making policy on health matters that they have no understanding of, right? So, and when they do get health professionals to advise them, they pick and choose the advisors that are under their thumb, that are bought and paid for. It's ridiculous, guys. This is a joke. It's infuriating, absolutely infuriating.
If they really cared about the people, they would have multiple medical advisors that are independent of the government that would come up with a consensus.
Correct.
They would be worrying about the economic consequences that we already went through. They'd be worrying about the other health consequences that they're completely ignoring. Suicide is up exponentially. Divorce rates are up. Domestic violence is up. Overdoses are through the roof. And then we have people that are missing their life-saving cancer and heart surgeries because they can't go to the hospital.
But it's empty.
Yes, and our hospitals are completely empty. The entire justification for lockdown in the first place was flatten the curve, which specifically means do not overwhelm the hospital capacity. Well, where is our hospital capacity? In Ontario alone, we have 500 hospitals. Currently, there are 580 COVID patients in our Ontario hospital. That's an average of just over one patient per hospital. And they're telling us that we're going to overwhelm the healthcare system.
It's insane.
We could put all the COVID patients in maybe one or two hospitals if we really had to.
Oh, man.
It's ridiculous.
I visited one of the hospitals. I was curious. I'm like, okay, I need to see this for myself. All I saw at this hospital, I took a lap like around the whole thing very slowly, looked in all the windows. All I could see was security. That's it. Nothing was happening. No, just security. I tried to go in. I wanted to explore the hospital. Obviously, they turned me down for health and safety reasons. Yeah, BS. And someone had better tell these guys that. By the way, viruses that require living cells to function because they're not alive themselves, they're dead. They can't leap into the air and infect people. Right? That's not how viruses work at the basic fundamental level. Like,
viruses need to be injected into you.
Yes.
They're in your blood. They need to get into your bodily fluids.
Correct.
You can't spit on someone or breathe on someone and give them a virus.
Yeah.
You could bleed into a cut of theirs. You could have it sexually transmitted.
Yeah.
Or you could take a sample of your blood and literally inject it into them and they will get a virus. Yeah. But wearing a mask will not protect you from coronavirus.
No.
Unless you're wearing a respirator,
right.
Not a mask. A respirator.
On the box.
Yes, it says right on the box with big bold letters, disclaimer, this mask does not protect from COVID or other viruses. Meanwhile, if you post that exact picture on social media, the fact checkers will remove it as false. You literally take the disclaimer off the package and put it online, and they'll remove it and call it fake news. Because the manufacturer is lying to you.
Yeah.
The mask is really much better than they tell you.
Oh my God.
It's going to protect you even though they tell you it won't.
This is how
ridiculous.
Such a joke.
And the whole idea of social distancing. I asked somebody today, where did the 6 feet come from?
Yeah.
Arbitrary. And they just looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, let's be honest. Where did you hear 6 feet? You heard it on TV, right?
Yeah.
And he had to admit, I heard it on TV. I'm
like,
so where did the 6 feet come from?
Yeah.
Literally, they made it up.
Yeah.
If you go to the WHO website, if you go to the CDC website, if you go anywhere in Europe right now, their official social distancing measurement is 1 meter or 3 feet. Why is that significant?
Yeah.
If we're in a restaurant in Toronto, the tables are already almost 3 feet apart.
Right.
So if for their new social distancing guidelines they required 3 feet, it wouldn't be a big deal. You could move the table a few inches and you wouldn't really impact the restaurant.
Right.
By telling all the small businesses they need a 6 foot gap, you're cutting their capacity virtually in half. Some places even worse. No restaurant, virtually no business can survive on half capacity.
That's right. Yeah.
How can you be paying your staff full price for your staff, full price for your expenses, full price for your power, full price for your rent, but you can only have half your capacity of your store? Doesn't make sense.
No, of course.
They're doing it on purpose. They want the stores to close.
Yeah.
Once you realize that they're doing everything on purpose, like we did, that's why we organized the protests. That's why I started a Facebook group called Back to Work, hashtag Back to Work. We got almost 3,000 members in about a month on that Facebook group. And I started getting business owners calling me asking what they could do. Like, is there anything we could do? And it made me want to do something.
Yeah.
So I started a nonprofit organization called Back at Work to fund and to create the so-called Back to Work initiative.
Right.
So what are we doing for small businesses? We have a website where small businesses can go, they fill out a form and they sign up. They get onto a list of other businesses that's completely anonymous. Nobody knows the list except for me. Not even my legal team or my lawyers know the list. Nobody. Just me. The businesses themselves do not know the list. They don't know how many people are on the list. So we have this list of businesses that are closed down or told they can't open, but they have to open. They have no choice by necessity.
Yeah.
If they don't open, they're going to go bankrupt. So they go on the website. The Back to Work initiative is three things. We give them a network. As soon as they join the network, I give them a phone call and I meet them in person on site at their business. I go through the new rules with them.
Yeah.
We show them all the loopholes and all the ways they can generate an income without breaking the laws and without worrying about getting fined or arrested. So we give them confidence. We give them knowledge. One of the big things we noticed, this is huge. Everybody needs to hear this. Listen very carefully. At least 25% of all lease contracts in the very fine print state that you are not responsible to pay rent if you have a forced government closure of your business. Virtually nobody knows this. And the landlords are not going to tell you. They will take advantage of you. They will tell you got to pay, and they'll take the money from you, and then they'll try to kick you out anyway. But they can't legally. So we give them that information. We also have a legal team in place because we realize that with these arbitrary guidelines, some businesses simply can't follow them.
Yeah.
They can't. They literally can't. It's impossible for them to. They literally will just have to close their business, and they can't do that.
Yeah.
So some businesses are going to be operating contrary to certain government guidelines. Inevitably, you're going to get somebody that gets fined or charged with something. For that, we have a legal team in place that's going to represent all the businesses in the company, in the network. Finally, the third part of it is a legal defense fund. Every business that joins the network donates a minimum of $100 to the fund. And I've been soliciting private donations from private citizens as well as other businesses, especially essential businesses, because we have to show solidarity and community and get everybody to come together to solve this problem.
Right.
So as of right now, we have businesses joining virtually every day. There's already around $5,000 in the legal fund. I met a business owner yesterday. They messaged me, so I went to go see someone yesterday, and they were a family, a father and a mother, and they have I don't want to say what kind of business. I don't want to give them away, but they have a business that should be open. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
So I went and I met with them, and I looked at their individual situation, and I told them everything that I'd already told you. And sure enough, they found that clause in their lease that said they don't have to pay the rent.
Cool.
And they almost got into tears. The two little girls came out of the back room, and then they told me how they had already lost their house, kicked out of their house, and they were literally days away from losing their business and virtually being on the street with nothing.
Right.
And then when we came there, we showed them how to deal with their landlord. We showed them how to generate income with their business. We gave them hope. We gave them courage.
Yeah.
And we gave them a means not only to fight back, but fight back and be successful.
Awesome.
So after spending maybe an hour with that family, they went from being homeless, about to lose their business, and about to lose everything, to having their business up and running, having a new deal with their landlord to secure their future, and hopefully going to be able to getting their home back anytime soon.
Oh, amazing.
That's what we're going to do for all these Canadians that are having this problem. Right now, we can only do it for Ontario small businesses because I haven't expanded the network, but we do accept donations from everywhere else in Canada.
Perfect.
The website is www.backtowork.bobzebra, BZ. And people can, I did a lot of the
that's awesome.
The ends were taken, so I had to get creative. So www.backtowork.bz, and you could, if you're an Ontario business or you know an Ontario business that's struggling, get them to go there to fill out the joint form. If you're just somebody that understands, like we do, that the small businesses are essential, and if they collapse, our economy going to collapse, our GDP is going to collapse, and Canada will never be the same again. Then you can help, and you can help out and donate.
Perfect.
But that's our main initiative that we're doing right now, and that's our way that we're going to help the people in the immediate. Because right now, those are the people that are being most affected, and those are the people that are immediately affected.
Yeah.
And we need to deal with them first. Once we save the businesses, I have a whole bunch of other campaigns coming out. We have a campaign that's going to be targeting mothers and social distancing.
Yes.
I'll give you guys the first. Nobody heard this yet. So this is the first time it's being mentioned.
Sweet.
It's going to be called MAD, Mothers Against Distancing.
Yes.
Mothers Against
Yes.
You like that, eh?
I like it. Yeah.
So we already have the website. We already have the slogan. What it's going to be is we are making a viral video campaign.
Yeah.
We have a concerned mother. She's a gorgeous woman. She's an Indian woman. She has a son and a daughter, so she's got 2 children. Her husband is also a doctor, so he's very credible. And we're going to be using her and interviewing a whole bunch of different doctors that deal with children, pediatricians, behavioral scientists, psychiatrists, psychologists, even epidemiologists, to talk about the social distancing that they're implementing in schools and how damaging it's going to be for our children and how unnecessary it is. And with that, we hope to reach hundreds of millions of people via an online social media campaign. And by September, we hope that we've already got everybody back to work. And that by September, we hope that all the moms refuse to send their kids back to those schools until they revert them back. They keep trying to push this idea of a new normal. And they say it every day.
Oh, it's everywhere.
Every outlet.
Yeah.
Yes. Why are they doing this? Because they have to brainwash you into accepting something that you know is against your best interest and that you know is wrong. Yeah. Everybody knows it's wrong. Everybody knows it's not in our best interest. So they have to say it from as many places as possible to make people just submit and accept it. Exactly. Well, we say it every day. No new normal.
That's right. That's right.
The other thing people have to understand, I know this is a lot of information, but if we don't go fast, we're literally going to be talking for hours and hours. Yeah. So we know what they're doing. We know how they got everybody to give up their rights using fear. Yeah. We know how they're getting everybody to continue being compliant using fear. Yeah. And now we know how they're trying to prevent everyone from fighting back using fear and division. That's right. Division and fear are the government's biggest weapons. Through the media, they disseminate propaganda and lies. From that, it builds people's perceptions. From the perceptions, they control behavior. They've been doing it very well so far because fear is a very powerful motivator, and division is the thing that keeps people from actually standing up and fighting back. Because everybody that was afraid could come together if they actually realized what was going on and had somebody to unite them. So they're doing everything they can to divide us. How are they doing this? Very simple. It starts with the virus itself. You have certain people that are terrified of the virus. They'll stay home, they'll wear masks, they think they're going to die. You have the other segment of the population that's done their research, they know better. So they don't want to wear a mask, they don't want to social distance, they're not scared of dying. Yeah. So you have a division between that two groups of society. Then they create a division between the business owners, which is their primary target, and the non-workers. Right. How do they do this? Pay the non-workers $2,000 a month to stay home when they were getting maybe $2,500 a month to work 40 hours a week. Yeah. Are they going to want to go back to work? Exactly. No. Yeah. They're going to want to stay home as long as possible and enjoy their vacation. Yeah. So now you have the workers divided against the non-workers. You have the people divided that believe in the virus versus the people that aren't scared of the virus. Yeah. What's their next step?
Race.
Racial division.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, race.
Started riots like crazy towards Soros and Antifa, inciting BLM and other groups to go crazy and cause stuff. They're trying desperately to do that here. Desperately. They are going out of their way to label me and others in our movement as racist, white supremacists, to try to incite people against us. The mainstream media will only refer to us as fringe or white supremacists or racist and try to inflame people against us or to try to make people not listen to our message. So they that racial division going on. That's where they're failing actually. Yeah. Because here in Toronto, here in Canada in general, people know better. They're more intelligent than they are in the States. They understand that they're being manipulated. Yeah. They understand that rioting and looting is not going to get their message across. So they failed on their racial division. That's right. So far. But they're still trying. Don't get it right. So, and now because they failed with the racial division, with the new division, now they're trying to turn everybody against the cops with this whole defund the police. Right. Why? Right. Because the cops are like everybody else. They're being compliant because they want to work. They don't want to lose their jobs. Yeah. But we've been in the same place protesting for 7 weeks straight. There's over 100 cops there. they listen to what we say
Exactly.
every week.
Yeah.
I was wondering if they actually listened
Yeah.
or they didn't listen.
They're people.
Well,
They're people.
They are people, exactly.
Yeah.
And they do listen.
Yeah.
And how do I know this? They contacted our director of communications, Miss Kellyanne Wolf. She's the one that helps get all our stuff in order so we can do this without getting hassled. And they had gotten over 100 letters of appreciation from the public, praising them for supporting us, for not trying to bother us, for not social distancing, for not trying to break up the protest, etc.
Yeah.
And they responded in an official letter that said that they were proud of us because they agreed with our message. And every week, the more we talked, the more it resonated with them.
That's
and they
amazing.
said that they were proud of us and they believed in what we were doing.
Makes sense why they want to defund the police.
Yeah.
The cops are just like everybody else. You think they want to send their kid to a school like that that's like a prison camp? Do you think they want to see all their friends' restaurants and bars and hair salons going broke?
Mm-hmm.
No, they don't. They're people too.
Yeah.
They're just keeping quiet for the most part because they don't want to lose their job, just like everybody else doesn't want to lose their job.
Yeah.
And you can't blame them for that. The police aren't by the way, the police aren't the ones going around finding people or charging people, all the rest of that.
Mm-hmm.
Those are special government bylaw officers.
Right.
They're basically like those meter maids that you see giving parking tickets. Only these people are allowed to give expensive parking tickets.
Yeah.
And that's why they're not nice people. They are not the police. The police are not giving out those fines. So I want people to understand that. So we support the police because we need everybody on our side. We support solidarity and unity.
Mm-hmm.
We try to invite the BLM protesters over to our cause. We try to invite everybody that wants to. In fact, we've gotten so much headway there that they're giving us new perks at Queen's Park. They're allowing us to have food and drink on site now.
Sick.
It's a new thing. So from now on at the protest, we're going to be offering food and drinks.
Oh, it's awesome.
And by next week, we might even have toilets and full access to the power, so we'll be able to have like a full-out festival, and it's going to probably end up being the biggest party in Toronto.
Yeah.
And what's the plan? We got to get 10,000 people out there to show them how much social distancing doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, we've already had that example, haven't we? I mean, all these riots happening all over. Like, what's going on with that?
True.
What? Like, is COVID all of a sudden just no longer exists?
COVID is racist.
Yeah. Well, it's.
I looked at the numbers in Toronto, and even after we had thousands of people at Trinity Bellwoods. We had the Trudeau protest. We have our protest that happens every week the last 7 weeks.
Yeah.
The coronavirus infection rate today got released, and it was the lowest it's been in 11 weeks. So how the heck are how are the cases coming way down when we had absolutely no social distancing?
Exactly.
The whole thing is a scam.
It's such
Everybody
a scam.
needs to realize that it has nothing to do with a virus. It has everything to do with government power. And the ultimate plan is to destroy small businesses, subjugate the population, and invert the power structure. So the government is no longer the servant; it is now the master.
Correct.
And that's what they are trying to do.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's what we're fighting against. That's what we're going to stop.
Right.
So we got the Back to Work initiative. We got the MAD initiative. The other organizer from Fearless Ontario, he's a genius. His name is Vlad, and he started a campaign called Hugs Over Masks. Over there? Can you get it? I'm going to get you his shirt.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Started this brilliant campaign. He actually made shirts. Because when you see people walking around with a mask on, you can't even talk to them. Yeah. Because they have a mask on. You can't hear what they're saying. The masks are a symbol of obedience, submission, and to see who can be scared by government propaganda. That's all they are.
And it's so divisive.
Nothing to do with your safety. It's just about perpetuating the fear.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. It's it. When I going into not shopping malls, into grocery stores and whatnot, you know, sometimes I'll mention this like to the clerks who are just giving you a hard time. It's just like this is just perception, right? This has absolutely
all it is.
Nothing to do with a mandate to help you stay healthy and well and to preserve your immune system. It has nothing to do with that. It is a psyop. It is just perception. They're trying to control the world around you so that it looks and it has the appearance of panic, you know, but that's just what they're putting in front of your face. It's just like the media taking a small segment of what they think that you should see and putting that in front of your face while the rest of the truth is going on and nobody knows any different because that's all they're giving you. It's the same crap. Same garbage.
the panic and the fear would end overnight if everyone turned their TV off for one
Totally.
day. And you can, we had proof of that because for months straight, every day was COVID. Then all of a sudden it changed to race riots.
Yeah.
The very next day. And
Yeah.
nobody went to COVID. Nobody was scared of COVID until they realized, oh shit, people aren't scared of COVID anymore. So then they started talking about COVID again.
Hey, COVID.
The hugs over mask is brilliant because when you walk down the street and you see someone with a mask, if you try to say something to them, you know they're a sheep, you know they're not going to listen.
Yeah.
But if you're just walking down the street and you're walking around with this shirt that says hugs over masks, it does the talking for you.
Right.
And it's actually a barrier breaker, like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
Like at first I liked the idea when I heard him doing it, and I'm like, okay, that's a pretty good idea. But now that I actually see it being implemented and the absolute power it has, the power of a hug in the time of COVID
it's amazing.
is insanity.
Yeah,
it
it's
destroys
amazing.
everything they're trying to do.
Yeah.
The fear of social distance, the fear of division. So if you go and you hug somebody of a different race, or you go and hug a cop, or you do something like that, you are literally, it's like stabbing the government in the heart. That's their biggest fear.
Yeah.
The biggest fear is you not being afraid and you realizing that everybody together can make the government do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's very well said. Yeah, very well said. It's amazing. Now you had actually touched on it earlier because everything that's happening, so everything that you guys are working on now, and you know the Fearless Ontario and hugs over masks. That's amazing. This is a threat, and startups like yourself, you know, they're happening all over the world right now, all over. So this mass wake up, it's a threat. Okay, now, and this is one of the reasons that when you first told me about this. That I wanted to get you on here because when you told me, I couldn't really believe it. But they are going to be doing whatever they can, whatever is in their power, to discredit movements like yourselves and anyone else who has something similar. You know, anything that has to do with squashing the fear, or at least seeing the truth, okay, regarding the fear. Right? Any movement like that, they're gonna pull dirty tactics. Okay, and they're going to do whatever they can to discredit you. So what I wanted to ask you, because you touched on it just a bit earlier, but just because we talked about it, but what were some of the things that they were that they were telling you, you know, calling you, and the ways they were besmirching your name and your movement? It's honestly hilarious. So yeah, you could just,
it is
what happened? Yeah.
And and the way it all fits together is just so telling of the entire situation. So everybody knows about Antifa. Everybody knows that Donald Trump in his tweet declared them a terrorist organization. Yeah. Literally, they are a terrorist organization.
Yeah.
In the United States, they get funding from people like George Soros, and they give that funding. They disseminate that funding to BLM, and they other groups, and they do what they have to do. They control groups like Black Bloc and all these rioting groups.
Yeah.
In Canada, there's a man named Bernie Farber. He likes to hide in the shadows. This man has been the head of the most powerful government NGOs in Canada, most largest charities and foundations. He's the number one hitman for the government for the last 30, 40 years to take out people like me that go against the agenda and pose an absolute threat to their agenda.
Right.
So what is Bernie doing now? Bernie owns a charity called Anti-Hate Canada. Anti-Hate Canada is abbreviated as Antifa, which funds Antifa. Antifa has their own web blog called Anti-Racist, which is anti-Ra. So
can't make this up,
Bernie's
folks.
Antifa, and anti-Ra, they have a nice little conglomerate of funding, of inciting riots, and then on anti-racist is where they have a blog where they write about people like me that they want to smear.
Right.
So before any of that even happened, as soon as I announced the Back to Work initiative on video, the video got a lot of views because it was picked up by Rebel News. So they put a clip of me, and it got something like 70, 80,000 views so far. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people knew what was going on. A lot of people knew what I was trying to do. And because it was a direct threat to their plans, I started getting attacks literally that same day that I announced the nonprofit. I said, I'm going to make, I didn't even have the nonprofit ready. I said, I'm going to turn back to work in a nonprofit. By next week, I'm going to have a nonprofit. That very same day, I came home that night and it was almost 12 midnight. I live up in the middle of nowhere. I have a pretty big property, all fenced off, 5 acres. And it's almost midnight. Me and my wife are coming home and I see some car just hanging out, trying to like get into my driveway. My gate's closed, obviously. And I see this person like prowling. Look, oh, what the hell is going on? So we drive up. We actually videotaped them. And it's some old lady. And she tries to tell me that she's a government agent and she works for the Department of Housing and Mortgages. And she was coming to look at my house, which is a construction site, to see what was going on there. Yeah. And it was all shady, whatever. I told her it's 11:30 at night. She tried to give me some weird excuse and then she left. Yeah. But I had seen her before, so I wasn't that spooked.
Right.
That morning I woke up. People had been messaging, emailing, calling my office, pretending like they were concerned customers and they had heard bad things about me. They didn't realize that I'm the owner of my company, so all the emails and stuff they were sending were coming directly to me.
Forwarding the messages to him to answer.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm getting all these complaint messages and they're saying all this fake stuff about me. So I literally just respond, is this true? Yeah. Otherwise, it could be defamation. And obviously, I just never heard from them again.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, they're actually coming after me. Then I started getting phone calls on my phone. I don't even know how they got my number. People threatening me, telling me they're going to hurt me, doing this and that. My email started blowing up. Twitter I started seeing threads about me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Then I popped up on the Antira blog. We have about 30 pages talking about my white supremacist, racist connections, like asking the government to do 5G testing.
Come on.
And all kinds of crazy stuff. Anything they could try to discredit me. But none of it's been working because I don't have a past. I don't have any skeletons in my closet. I don't have any criminal charges. I don't have any weird fetishes or things they can exploit. And I don't respond well to intimidation.
Yeah.
I'm not like the normal people that they go to. I have no political ambitions. Yeah. I can't be bought. So they really have no idea what to do with me.
Yeah.
So they're just literally throwing everything they can to see if they can stick. You saw at the protest, they sent a political operative, Dr. James Sears.
Yes,
He's
that's right.
synonymous.
That's right.
He's synonymous in the media with anti-Jewish, racism, white supremacy, anti-government, anarchism. He spent a year in jail for actual hate crimes. This guy is like the #1 person you never want to be seen. It's like the equivalent of me taking a picture with Hitler in 1942.
Yeah.
And what happened? Right before I was about to go make my speech on Saturday, some guy walks up to me in a black suit to shake my hand, like dozens of people do every time I'm at the protest.
Yeah.
So me, being the stupid idiot that I am, goes to shake his hand. I'm like, and then he introduces himself as Dr. James Sears. And right away,
you knew
know who that is.
Yeah, you knew.
I know who that is.
Yeah, you knew.
I got an epiphany.
You knew.
All I saw were flashbulbs.
Guilt by association.
Oh my God, I can't wait to see. They're going to be like, they're going to have like vacation pictures of me and James Sears together going back 10 years, Photoshop. Me and him in fucking Bahamas on a yacht together, writing a communist manifesto. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, raping a hamster together.
And you saw at our last protest at the end of the march.
Yeah.
That guy pulled out a machete.
Yes, that's right. Oh my God, I couldn't believe that when I saw it. It was amazing. Yeah. So guys, I mean, Chris will tell you, but yeah, I was at the protest with Chris. This happens on Saturday in Toronto in Queen's Park. So if you're a Torontonian, get on out there. We need you. And there was a dude with a machete just trying to blend in with the crowd, and then the cops got alerted and had to take him down. They tased him, and I mean, who knows what he was up to? But I mean, the guy's carrying a friggin' massive machete. Yeah.
The important part is, guess what the media said?
Oh no, I didn't follow up on what they said. What did they say?
Oh, man with machete attacks anti-racism protesters. We're like, excuse me.
What?
They didn't attack the anti-racism protester. They attacked the anti-lockdown protester.
What?
You know what
they said that?
CTV's response was? Yeah, CTV's response was, sorry, we must have made a mistake, but we're not going to print a retraction or a correction because we're not following that story anymore.
God! Oh my God! Come on! Come on,
you know
man!
what we did? So you know what we did? We
No.
contacted the Sun, and Joe Scarborough is one of their writers there, and he's got a very good relationship with our communications director.
Yeah.
So we sent them the video footage
Right.
of our people videotaping the guy,
Yeah.
and videotaping the takedown.
Yeah.
And we told the Sun was told us they were going to print a retraction calling out the other media. That was supposed to happen today.
Mm-hmm.
The editors of the Sun called Joe Scarborough and personally tried to shut it down.
Oh.
So I don't know if it's still going to happen.
Yeah.
But this is how much they're trying to control the media narrative.
Everything, every dirty trick imaginable, conceivable, they're gonna go after you. Yeah.
You saw at the end of our march, even after the machete guy,
Yeah.
the anti-racism protesters started showing up.
That's right.
And they ended up being little children.
Mhm.
And we thought, like, why are
Yeah.
these kids here?
Yeah, I
And
was
they were
there with you.
terrified of us.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I went over to talk to them to bridge the gap, show solidarity, unity. And sure enough, we got dialogue, we shook their hands, and then they all started coming over.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, the mainstream media showed up because they won't show up for our protest, but they'll show up for the anti-racism
Oh,
protest.
of course. Yeah, of course.
The media would not film our two groups showing together. They literally tried to divide us
That's
apart
right.
so they could take video footage of two separate groups that were opposing.
That's
Meanwhile, we're like, we're not opposing, we're together.
Yeah.
And we have our own people videotaping everybody all together, chilling
That's
and
right.
calling out the media. Meanwhile, the media would not turn on their cameras. They refused to and literally tried to separate us. They tried to separate us like this so the media could go in the middle and show that there's two opposing sides.
Exactly.
Try to give that idea of division
Exactly.
that does not exist.
Exactly. Yeah. Because, I mean, otherwise, right, that doesn't fit the PSYOP. It doesn't fit the plan, right? They can't show people acting in unison, in harmony with one another, championing for a legitimate cause. They cannot show that because that's not going to help them justify what's happening right now in the economy. Right?
100%. 100%.
Unbelievable.
That's why they're doing everything they can to subvert any information about the lockdown.
That's right.
They're doing anything they can to subvert information about people like us.
Yeah.
I've done multiple interviews with CTV, Global, CBC. I have them videotaped because I knew they were never going to see the light of day.
Yeah.
If they put me on TV, it would literally be a revolution overnight.
Yeah.
So that's why we got to get me on TV.
Right, yeah. It's amazing.
And like you said, anybody who's watching this from Toronto or near Toronto, come to Queen's Park on Saturday.
That's right.
We get over 1,000 people on average. And that's when the media was telling everyone there's going to be race riots and you're going to get attacked if you show up.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
And obviously nothing happened.
No, of course not. Yeah. And it's been great.
We haven't missed one.
Yeah,
and everything grows.
It's been great down there, and I mean, unfortunately, I mean, I wish it was under better circumstances, but for a lot of the kids that are showing up, you know, to the protests, man, you can see it on their faces. Even the adults, you can see it. They're enjoying being out and being social and being goddamn human beings, right? Being human beings.
People have to understand it's not a protest. It's a gathering of like minds.
Yeah,
so
that's
when
right.
We're there, everybody's doing their own thing. There's kids playing sports.
Yeah.
There's people playing games. They're talking. They're eating. They're making music.
Sure.
Everyone's just hanging out and having fun. It's a giant party.
Exactly.
That's what we're trying to get the vibe out. We don't want people to associate it as a protest because people associate protests with negativity, with violence, etc.
Yeah.
It's a gathering where we're sharing ideas of what the problems are and how to constructively fix them and how to bring everyone together.
That's right.
When you're there, the energy is so positive and so inspirational. Yeah. It's undeniable. And that's why everybody that goes there comes back. There hasn't been anyone that goes there and like, oh, this isn't for me.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Never.
Yeah. It's such a success. And hopefully this, word spreads about this, just gets bigger and bigger. And, this video is important. I'm glad I was able to get you here because, this stuff needs to be talked about. And it's just so unfortunate to see how how easily the fear propaganda just ensnared the common mind, right? It was way too easy. Way too easy. Very terrifying. Very terrifying. And, guys, like for you guys out there in the audience listening, we're in dangerous times. And, I've done other lectures on this, but obviously it has nothing to do with health. I don't mean danger as in health. Like Chris has been telling you for the last, I don't know how long we've been going now, probably close to an hour. Yeah, but it's, the danger is everything else that this tyrannical control system is enforcing on us right now. And so we need to do whatever we can to, get back to work, to put the pressure on, show them that we're actually not scared of your made up. It's not that it's made up. It's not that it's not made up, but the danger is exaggerated like 180%, right? It's blown way out of proportion. Yeah, like you're just as safe now walking the streets, taking deep breaths in and licking your hands and then licking random people. Okay, you're just as safe doing that now as you were last year, the year before, and the year before.
100%. 100%.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
7 weeks at Queen's Park, not one person sick.
I feel like I'm
Nobody.
healthier every time
Nobody.
Yeah, you get sunshine.
Yeah.
Vitamin D.
Yeah.
There.
I guarantee the people that come out to Queen's Park are healthier than the people staying home.
Absolutely. 100% guaranteed. They're out. They're with people. They're not stressed. Okay? Unless they're actually just getting pissed off and yelling into the megaphone or whatnot. But most of the people, they're not stressed. They're there to champion a good cause. And they're there to be around like-minded people who aren't drones, who walk around like friggin' Bane, terrified of contracting something that they can't contract, like physically, biologically. So, they're going to be healthier than these people that are just locking themselves down mentally and physically. It's so dangerous. Yeah, it's so dangerous. Oh, God.
And all people need to do for proof.
Yeah.
All people need to do for proof that this is not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the countries around the world that didn't lock down. Japan never locked down. They have the highest population density in the world.
Yeah.
They didn't lose their economy. They didn't lose their freedom. They only had 900 people die.
Right.
How did they do it without lockdown?
Mm-hmm.
But we need to be locked down. We need to sacrifice our businesses. We need to sacrifice our freedoms.
Yeah.
We need to sacrifice our economy, our future.
No.
For what? Because they asked you to?
Exactly.
No, people got to realize that we have to stop doing what we're told to do and start doing what we know is right.
Exactly.
That's what people need to do.
Exactly. Yeah, very well said. Yeah, very well said, my man.
I'm going to have some interviews coming out actually in the next couple of days.
Okay.
Rebel did a big piece on me and Back to Work.
Okay.
And I'm going into the studio next week with In24 News, the new news station that just came up in Ontario.
Excellent.
They said they want to do a full-length feature, so that we're going to get a lot more exposure than we've been getting.
Well, you always have my support here on my channel here for my audience, and whatever I can do to help out the cause, I'm here for you guys. Like this is what we need, and everyone needs to stand up against this. And I'm glad you guys are doing what you're doing. For those of you watching, as I said before, I'll put links to all the resources that you need to get in touch with Kristen.
Can we list them one? I just want to list them one more time. I
of course.
Find me, to be honest.
Yeah.
You can find me on Facebook at Chris Sky, SKY. You can't miss me. It's me. Pictures everywhere. The group is Back to Work, #Back to Work. The website is www.backtowwork.bobzebra. The political organization is fearlessontario.ca. Go there, sign up. Like our Facebook and Instagram and pages, follow them, because the more people that sign up to our organization, the more funding we get from donors, the more things we can make happen, the faster we can end this lockdown.
Perfect.
And if you know any businesses that are in trouble, get them to contact me immediately, and I will help them. Like I've been helping all the other ones. Even if I got to do it one at a time, I'll save each person individually.
Awesome.
One at a time.
That's how it works, brother. That's how it works. That's amazing. Yeah. Chris, yeah, thank you so much. I'm really glad that you're able to come and share all this with us. You have free access to this video. You can cut it up. You can even edit me out. Use whatever you want. So I'll give you footage of this. So use it for
Edit Jenny out.
We'll just Jenny. But yeah, no, you got my support, my man. And for all of you guys in the audience, thank you for joining me. Thank you for sitting through this lecture with us, or not lecture, but this interview. And yeah, just we got to be on our guard, guys. We've got a very, very crushing system up against us, and
I want them to remember one thing.
Yeah.
Just one thing. If they don't take anything else from this, all evil needs to succeed is for good people to do nothing.
That's right.
And that's why they're telling you to stay home and
right.
do nothing. Because that's how they'll succeed.
Exactly.
The moment you do anything, the moment you speak out, the moment you stand up, the moment you unify, they've lost.
That's right.
And that's why the biggest, most successful propaganda campaign I have ever seen in my life is that little hashtag stay home. Just remember that.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Chris, you're awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. And guys, be well. Yeah, love you too, man. And if there's anything else that comes up, you're welcome to come on here again and talk about any updates. But for now, we'll cut it there. And everyone out there, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.